Welcome back to the fourth section in this lesson. How do we create your customer journey? So the first step is definitely to identify or define the start and end of the journey. Step 2, identify the phases where potentially your company or your organization is communicating something to the customer, or there is a change in a sub goal. And finally, filling in the details for each phase. So instead of talking through these concepts, let's use an example. So this is an example of a travel journey taken from travelpod.com. And we have here a journey of a traveler. And as you can see at the top, there are different phases in the journey, starting from inspiration, shopping, booking, pre-trip, in-trip, and post-trip. So first step is to identify the start and end of the journey. For a traveler, the start of the journey doesn't start when he goes overseas, but it starts when he starts thinking of the trip. So that is what you need to define. Similarly, this trip ends when he comes back to his home country. So that is the end of the trip. And along the way, they have divided it up into different phases. So let's take a look at the phases. In the first phase, where he is being inspired, what he does is that he sees a friend's travel post, or searches for places to go, or he shares certain ideas with friends or family. So in this section, his goal is to be inspired. It is also clear that as he moves on to the next phase, his goal has changed. So from being inspired, now he has identified the place that he wants to go, and he starts to shop for different options, whether they are flights, hotels, car rental. He starts comparing offers, he starts reading reviews. So remember, we said that a logical end to a phase is where there's a change in the sub goal. So if we look at the trip as a whole, his goal is definitely to have as much fun on the trip as possible. But in each phase, the sub goal is different. In the inspiration phase, he's looking for options, he's looking for ideas. But coming into the shopping phase, he's starting to compare different prices, different hotels, different car rentals. And moving on, once he has done the necessary comparison, he starts to book his trip. Finally, he's about to leave, and that is where he starts packing, he starts planning for activities, he starts booking in-trip activities. So you can tell from booking, once he has completed the necessary booking for flights, accommodation, as well as car rentals, he immediately moves to the next phase where his goal has changed. He's now preparing for the trip. He is now trying to look for things to do while on the trip. And during the trip itself, the goals have changed again. So rather than preparing, now the focus is on enjoying, booking trips and experiences, looking for recommendation, viewing itinerary, and finally, at the end of the trip, that is where he prepares to come back to his home country, his homeward flight, talking about baggage collection when he arrives back in his home country, giving reviews and feedback for the hotels or the flights that he took. So under the channel section, that is where we identify how this customer is getting information and through which channels. So whether it's using a search engine, whether it's a meta search, whether it's using traveler review websites, social media, or in the shopping phase where he's looking for online travel agencies, supplier websites, and so on. So this channel section covers what kind of information that he is getting and where is he looking for information from. In the next row, we will look at the customer's feelings. How is he feeling at each phase of the journey? So even in a travel journey, there are some sections where he's extremely happy, but others where he's feeling some frustration, such as at the shopping section. He may be feeling that there's too many options, it is difficult for him to compare, and so on. So because this travel journey was built for an online travel agency, that is where the author of this travel journey decided to put in what are some OTA stands for online travel agency tactics. What can the online travel agency do, and how can the online travel agency measure their KPI? So this is slightly different from what we have gone through in the previous videos, but don't worry, we can actually translate this into something that we are familiar with. So here we can actually go to Miro.com and actually create our own travel journey. So in the next video, I will talk about how we can translate what we saw in Travelpod's customer journey into the starting phases of our own, and how can we actually start filling it up. So that brings us to the end of the different steps to creating your own customer journey, and in the next section, that is where we will work through an example. See you in the next video. Thank you.